Oi there, mateys, and welcome aboard the sailing channel. Today, we're setting a course for a place shrouded in mystery, a spot whispered about in hushed tones by old salts and flyboys alike. A place where compasses spin like mad, ships vanish without a trace, and the line between what's real and what's a nightmare gets mighty thin. So batten down the hatches because we're heading straight into the Bermuda Triangle. Stick with me, cause what you're about to hear will change the way you look at the ocean forevermore. Picture this: Miami, Florida, sun blazing, ocean shimmering like a mermaid's treasure. But just beyond the horizon, there's something unseen, something sinister lurking. An invisible triangle stretching between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Sailors used to call it cursed, jinxed. Pilots, they'd give it a wide berth. Soon enough, the whole world knew it as the Bermuda Triangle. But how did a simple patch of ocean become a legend of terror? Well, our story begins on one fateful day back in '45. December 5th, 1945, 5 Navy bombers, Flight 19, take off on a routine training mission. Seemed easy enough, a milk run, until the radio crackled to life. Compass malfunctioning. Can't find west. Something's wrong, everything looks wrong, then silence. 5 aircraft. Gone. But the mystery deepens. The rescue plane sent after M vanished too. 1 mission, 6 aircraft, over to dozen men. Swallowed whole by the Atlantic. The Bermuda Triangle had claimed its most famous victims, but the nightmare was just getting started. Flight 19 grabbed all the headlines, but the disappearances kept on coming, fueling the legend. Back in 1918, the mighty Navy ship USS Cyclops vanished with 306 souls aboard. Not a distress call, not a scrap of wreckage. Just poof, gone. In '48, the passenger plane Star Tiger disappeared into thin air. A year later, her sister plane, Star Ariel, met the same fate, almost on the exact same route. Fishing boats, yachts, cargo ships. One by one, they vanished into the deep blue abyss. Was the ocean hiding a dark secret? Or was there something far more sinister at play? Now, this is where the Bermuda Triangle story takes a turn from tragedy to something downright bizarre. Some folks believe it's a portal to another dimension, sucking planes and ships into parallel universes. Others whisper of UFOs, alien craft lurking in the triangle's skies, snatching up vessels like toys. And then there's the most chilling theory of all, Atlantis. Could a lost, advanced civilization be lying beneath those waves, its ancient technology still dragging travelers to their doom? Crazy, right? But hold your horses, because science has some equally mind-bending explanations. The scientists, they argue there's nothing supernatural about the triangle. It's simply one of the most dangerous places on Earth. 1. Raging Atlantic weather, hurricanes, squalls, rogue waves the size of buildings. They can pop up out of nowhere, leaving no time to react. 2. Methane gas explosions. Methane hydrates on the seafloor could erupt, turning the ocean into a death trap, sinking ships in seconds. 3. Magnetic anomalies. Compasses spin wildly, sending planes hundreds of miles off course with a single wrong turn. 4. Human error add in heavy traffic, and mistakes can turn deadly fast. So, is the Bermuda Triangle cursed? Or is it just a perfect storm of science, nature, and human fallibility? But if it's just science, why does the legend refuse to die? Statistically, the Bermuda Triangle ain't no more dangerous than any other busy shipping lane. Ships sink, planes crash. It happens all over. But myths have power, and the Bermuda Triangle has become the ultimate maritime myth. It taps into our deepest. Now, look here, statistically speaking, the Bermuda Triangle ain't no more dangerous than any other busy shipping lane out there. Ships go down, planes crash. It's a sad fact of life, and it happens all over the globe. But myths, well, They've got a power all their own, and the Bermuda Triangle. It's become the granddaddy of all maritime myths, hasn't it? It just grabs hold of our deepest fears, that shiver of the unknown, those mysteries the ocean keeps locked tight in its watery grasp. If you enjoyed this little voyage into the mysteries of the sea, be sure to give us a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and share this video with your fellow seafaring friends. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure on the high seas. Thanks for sailing with us. Sailing Towards the Endless Horizon by Sailing Channel.
Upon the world, its eventual name was inevitable. A 1964 issue of the American pulp fiction magazine Argosy featured a cover with the caption, "Lost in the Bermuda Triangle." The article inside covers many of the same vanishments as the previous two, but with a compass aligned with magnetic north while the North Star aligns with true north. More importantly, however, neither of these two events occurred anywhere near the Bermuda Triangle. But takeoff, Navy personnel was able to approximate the flight's current location at some 200 kilometers north of their intended flight path. A flying boat with designation ST-49 was consequently dispatched to this location, but after a routine transmission, it inexplicably disappeared. ST-49 was initially scheduled for a night navigation exercise when, upon getting a fix on the location, crashed into the ocean once they ran out of fuel, while ST-49 combusted and exploded, possibly due to a malfunctioning 49. A plane known as the Star Ariel departed Bermuda for Kingston, Jamaica. An hour into the flight, the pilot made a routine transmission with no indication of alarm, but the plane was never seen or heard from again. There was no evidence of a crash and no distress call had been transceived. The weather was excellent for the entire duration of the flight. The pilot and his crew was highly experienced and had flown this specific route many times before, and the plane was in working condition prior to departure. A succeeding investigation failed to determine a probable cause due to a lack of evidence. But what makes this even more mysterious is that a sister plane known as the Star Tiger had vanished under similar circumstances the year before. On January the 30th, 1948, the Star Tiger disappeared while approaching Bermuda from the east. The pilot and the rest of the crew were highly experienced, but the weather was not ideal with strong winds and heavy rain. The strong winds had blown the plane off course just an hour before their last transmission, and they were never seen or heard from again. This was confirmed once the ship was boarded a few days later, and the ship's log, the crew's personal belongings, key navigational equipment, various documents, 2 lifeboats, as well as the ship's 2 anchors were found to be missing. Furthermore, the steering wheel and other equipment also appeared was not the captain. He was described by the lightship keeper as a red-headed man with a Scandinavian accent. So, me without a soul. While this description could not have been that of the captain, it was descriptive of the other crewmen, most of which were Danes, which of course only strengthens the possibility of mutiny. Secondly, later investigations found that the relationship painted black, roughly sailing in the wake of the Deering. When the lightship hailed the vessel, not only was the hail ignored, but the crew of the triangle was anything but a legend. Why is it not marked on publicly available maps and nautical charts? If the US Coast Guard is so concerned with the safety of others, don't you think they have a responsibility to warn the populace about this abnormally dangerous region of the ocean? Yet they point, but the absurdity of this phenomenon is also what makes it so fascinating to me. Despite my best efforts, I've been totally unsuccessful in my attempts to understand what exactly constitutes as cases, such as in the case of Flight 19, the incident occurred within the general confines of the triangle, but Flight 19 is an exception. Most vanishments occur when the route of a plane or ship simply overlapped the triangle. In 1963, a ship known as the SS Marine Sulphur Queen departed a harbor in Beaumont, Texas, heading for Norfolk, Virginia. Her last known location was here, but then she just vanished, as if sinking into some inexplicable abyss. Her disappearance is blamed on the powers of the triangle, despite the fact that the ship is just as likely to have disappeared in the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, the Coast Guard believes she disappeared just before reaching the Florida Keys, but what do they know? In 1954, a plane disappeared while traveling between the US state of Maryland and the Azores. It is said to be a victim of the Bermuda Triangle despite being outside its boundaries. It's even more embarrassing in the case of the aforementioned Carol A. Deering, as she safely traversed the entire Bermuda Triangle, only to go all hocus pocus once she had cleared it. Proponents will often justify these inclusions by invoking arguments of adjacent regions. In other words, disappearances in close proximity of the triangle should be considered part of the triangle. Okay, but how far do these adjacent regions extend? Is the Gulf of Mexico an adjacent region? The Caribbean Sea? The coast of Brazil? The coast of Nova Scotia? The entire North Atlantic, perhaps? If that's the case, why there is nothing uniquely conspicuous about this location as compared to the rest of the ocean. Ships and planes vanishing without a trace is unfortunately quite common and certainly not limited to a corner of the North Atlantic Ocean. The amount of vanishments in a given area is largely dependent on factors such as the amount of traffic, the frequency of adverse meteorological phenomena, and the presence of powerful oceanic currents. The Bermuda Triangle ticks all 3 boxes. There's a ton of traffic, it is frequently invaded by hurricanes and storms, and it is intersected by the Gulf Stream. But I have to say the most crucial flaw of this alleged enigma is the variation. The fundamental aspect of the Bermuda Triangle is that these incidents can somehow be correlated, yet each disappearance could not be more different. Some vanishments occur during a storm, some when the sky is clear, some when the sea is turbulent, some when the sea is calm, some during the day, some during the night. Probable causes include mechanical failure, explosions, human error, sabotage, fuel starvation, inexperience, piracy, mutiny, etc. Some ships and planes are brand new, some are many decades old, some are extremely large, some are tiny. Bodies, debris and wreckage can at times be recovered, other times it cannot. A distress signal is sometimes transceived, sometimes it is not. It involves every type of vessel and every type of aircraft. They can be traveling at any speed, in any direction, at any altitude, with any number of passengers, for any amount of time, for any reason. Whatever this mysterious